All right, now we are going to bring up our second company in this space, TrueAbility. If you'd like to make your way on up here. From San Antonio, right down the street. Going to be looking at ways to deal with hiring technologists.
That's correct.
You got 5 minutes right there. At 30 seconds, you'll see me get up, and we'll stop, and that'll begin when you start.
Thank you. Hello, I'm Luke Owen, co-founder and CEO of TrueAbility. I'd like to thank the South by Southwest Accelerator for giving this opportunity to share our story. The founders of TrueAbility have worked together for over 10 years as part of the senior and executive leadership team that built and scaled Fanatical support at Rackspace. During that time, we hired over 1,100 IT professionals and learned that hiring great technical talent is hard. To hire one IT professional, companies will source 55 candidates using skills keyword searches on online profiles and resumes. After that, they will spend the next 8 weeks conducting a series of technical interviews using whiteboard exercises, technical trivia, or multiple choice questions to try to understand the candidate's technical abilities. In the end, to hire one IT professional, it takes companies over 53 days to fill that position, and they waste over $2,000 in labor costs screening the candidates. In 2011, there were over 2 million IT hires, which we view as over $2 billion of wasted labor costs screening technical candidates. The best way to evaluate IT professionals is to put them on the job to see what they can do. I will show you how TrueAbility puts IT professionals in a live cloud environment to identify their true ability. A candidate assessed by TrueAbility is provided with a live cloud environment and asked to complete a series of technical tasks and troubleshoot common problems associated with the technologies the job requires. Upon completion, the companies can see a stacked ranking of all the candidates in consideration, which makes it easy for them to identify the most talented candidate. They can then view the candidate's skills profile to see how they performed in the individual technologies. We also provide a video playback of the candidate actually completing the assessment for the companies to evaluate the candidate's thought process and troubleshooting ability. To help companies find talent that's not normally available to them, we built Ability Challenge. This week, at South by Southwest, we launched our first ever Ability Challenge called the Linux Showdown. Today is day 5 of our 5-day competition, where IT professionals are coming to compete in a skills-based challenge using our Ability Screen platform. The finalists will advance to Thursday's competition, where they'll have a chance to be crowned the top Linux Wrangler at South by Southwest. Participants have the option to opt in to our service called Ability Match, where they can find opportunities from companies looking to hire someone with their skills. We'll be releasing open beta in the next coming months. Companies will have the opportunity to purchase a 60-day pass using Ability Screen to screen as many candidates as they need to make one hire. To try us out, they can also purchase an individual Ability Screen for $79. Companies with monthly hiring needs can sign up to our platform to screen as many candidates as they need to meet their hiring volume. They will also have the ability to use our Ability Match service, where they only pay if we help them find a hire. We are charging $5,000 per placement with Ability Match. This is far less than what a company typically pays with an IT recruiting agency, which is $20,000 to $30,000 per placement. In 2011, there were over 2.3 million IT professional hires, and that number is expected to grow by 30% through 2020. For us, with our Ability Screen service, we see that as over a $1 billion opportunity, an $11 billion opportunity for our placement service, Ability Match. We built TrueAbility so companies start the interview process with qualified talent and to make an easy way for IT professionals to show their true ability to companies. TrueAbility is proud to be part of the Techstars Cloud 2013 class. And we invite anybody interested in investment opportunities to email us or to come to our upcoming demo day in April. If you're a company hiring IT professionals, we ask that you come to TrueAbility and sign up for our beta and to try out Ability Screen. If you're an IT professional, we invite you to participate. You have 1 day left to participate in the Ability Challenge. And thank you.
Awesome. Good job. I used to hire people at Technology Review. It was the worst thing ever. I hated it.
Yep.
Bob, start us off.
How much money have you raised so far?
So we've raised $750,000 in seed funding in November.
And do you have any data or evidence that shows that your test is highly correlated with the actual skill of the person?
So we are building that with a use case right now with our customers in private beta. Right now we have 6 companies in private beta, and we've screened over 600 candidates that led to successful hires. But what we're doing is, I mean, the idea behind a break-fix test is not new. I mean, we use this at Rackspace to build Fanatics support, and Fanatics support is known to provide the highest level of technical expertise in the industry. But what we basically did is codified that whole break-fix. It is difficult for companies to actually build something to actually test candidates in a live environment.
Will you allow me a third question?
Bob, you do what you need to do.
Do you know what a MOOC is?
A MOOC, I don't.
No, massively online open courseware. So
Yeah.
for example, I'm taking MIT's Introduction to Computer Programming course right now. I'm learning Python. And when I'm done with that course, I'd like someone to certify that I am the world's best Python programmer. So in that case, I would be your customer.
Absolutely.
Have you thought of doing that?
Absolutely. There's been several universities that have actually approached us to use our platform to actually evaluate and actually give their students an opportunity to use their skills in a live server environment. It's difficult to do that with them today because they can't give them access to a company's infrastructure. While we are looking at and consider that as an option in our roadmap, we are laser focused right now on helping companies hire technical talent.
I mean, you also think about things like Lynda and things like that where you go through trainings and you don't really get any, nobody really knows what you've done or not.
Yeah, and that was another interesting thing through this ability challenge. We've had over 1,200 IT professionals compete through the past 4 days. And one of the things we keep getting a lot of feedback is, hey, I want to know the answer. What did I do wrong? I want this as a learning experience. We're going to be blogging about all the scenarios we presented. There were different scenarios presented every day, and it's a learning opportunity for the folks participating in the challenge.
Patrick, let's go kick it down here.
I really like where Bob is going with this. One of the most amazing developments in the leading platforms for online education like Coursera and Edmodo and LearnUp is that those platforms are becoming the new College Board or the new college. They're becoming the arbiters and the repository of talent. And in your case, there's a lot riding on that.
Yeah.
So how do you authenticate to make sure that I'm not paying some really bright Chinese or Indian person halfway around the world to take these tests for me?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. The video playback that we have, when you're in the interview, I mean, we still expect companies to do a face-to-face interview. There's still the culture fit. There's still the team fit that has to be evaluated. You will know very soon if this candidate doesn't have any expertise when you're doing that. And we use the video playback in those situations. Companies use that to ask the candidate to walk us through your troubleshooting ability. They can ask questions, and very quickly, you're able to identify if it's someone else.
Yeah, I mean, so I think you definitely have a big market here, and there's definitely a pain point around inefficiency and waste in the hiring process and shortage of technical talent, meaning people are really looking to solve this problem. At the same time, in this context, the idea of having skills-based testing via the web for engineers has been around for a while, and yet nothing's really emerged as a platform in that space that's had success there. Why do you think that is, and why now?
Sure. A lot of the ones that we've seen, there are some companies starting to appear in this space. That's exciting for us. A lot of the companies we've seen went straight to the developers and concentrated just on development testing. We started with the infrastructure side. There's a new breed of developers coming up now called the DevOps engineer, where with the advent of cloud, the infrastructure is in control of the developer. These are foundational skills, and in testing folks on the infrastructure of this environment, these are real-world tasks and real-world scenarios. A lot of the stuff we're seeing is not, I mean, they're algorithmic challenges. They're algorithmic tests that they give. Just because someone can solve one of these challenges doesn't mean they can write a good web app. And we're starting this here, and we have a lot of great ideas on how we're going to be able to test a developer's ability to actually write a good web app. So I think that's one of the key pieces.
Bob and I were having this conversation yesterday about MOOCs and things like this, and I think this sort of follows that. It's very easy to test a skill. Most people that when you're hiring somebody, nobody says like, I really want you to have a skill. What you say is, I want somebody that can problem solve and learn new things and figure out innovative ways to apply answers we know here to problems we have here.
Yeah.
How does this deal with that?
Yeah, so this is really interesting how we, I'd like to talk a little bit about what makes up an ability screen. We don't sit in a room trying to come up with what we think that this IT professional should know about these individual technologies. We go out and source the common problems that exist with these technologies through common problem and solution sites. So now we go out and we know what are the common most 100 configuration tasks. What are the most common 100 problems with this technology? We then reverse engineer those into our scenarios, which goes into our platform and recreates that problem on our environment where the candidate then goes there and fixes that problem.
But do you have the Kobayashi Maru? David.
2 quick questions. Which side of your market, do you think of yourself as a marketplace, and which side of your marketplace do you think is harder, the customers or the IT people?
Yeah, so right now we are focused on working with companies that are hiring IT professionals, but we see a future where when an IT professional applies to a job, they're going to apply with their TrueAbility resume. And we are building that up where their TrueAbility resume will have the proof of their skills, the proof of their knowledge when they're applying.
What incentivizes somebody great to be on your platforms? If someone great at the top end of the spectrum is going to have an ability to get a job or to display qualification to sort of skip through the skills test or to not spend a day at South by doing a Linux test, how do you capture those candidates such that your testing can actually reach the top percentile?
Yeah, so candidates that are coming to compete in some of our challenges, that is not the mechanism that we're going to use to really build their ability profile. It's a place where they come and compete and we test individual skills. But we want to have ability for IT professionals to use the similar ability screens to actually certify their skills in the individual technologies. And I think through that process, we'll really be able to identify who are the best, amongst the general group.
This kind of gets to both the Coursera or the online community question as well as I think what Dave is asking, which is right now in the market, at least, developers have a lot of the leverage versus necessarily the employers, and there's a real shortage of talent. So why do you think developers will want to compete on your platform versus staying on the platforms they're at, whether that's a competitive challenge in an online environment or the real resume I'd say today for developers is something like GitHub, where you're open source projects. So why this approach versus finding them where they are in terms of GitHub and other developer communities?
Sure. Can you go to the job seeking status? So when you look at the job seeking status of employees, only 18% are actually actively looking for jobs. 60% are passive and would like to look, but are in a spot where they would consider opportunities from other companies. We believe that there's a lot of friction in the process to actually go and understand what are those other opportunities for them. Using your GitHub account, using that as far as a reference, it does contain some of your work and some of your code, but there's no evaluation. For recruiters using those tools that aggregate the evidence, they call it social evidence, that I say I know Ruby because there's a piece of Ruby code in my GitHub account. There's no context there as far as quality of that code or if it was even them that actually put that code there.
David.
Yeah, I mean, like GitHub just raised a lot of money. They probably have a roadmap as well that involves some of this stuff where they mine the activity in the community that they've already built. But skipping through that, what prevents somebody from taking one of your tests and then going on Stack or going on a forum and writing out your test and sort of sharing the results? And aren't you guys racing to sort of skip the Google competitor?
Sure. So 2 ways that we present this to the public. Through the challenges, there's definitely an expiration on there. We want everyone competing against the same challenge. And the format we did here, everyone, the top 15 from each day, go to the final round. It's invite only. They only have one opportunity to actually go and view that. So there's little risk of that getting out there through our challenge format. Now, for Ability Screen, the way that we create these tests, every single test is different. If one of our customers is hiring 15 candidates, we dynamically create every test. And we have a variable engine as well that actually changes the scenario per the candidate. No 2 candidates will ever receive the exact same test.
This category, the innovative web technologies, we're trying to have companies that change the web and change the world. So on a broader kind of perspective, is this highly focused vocational training really the death of the degree? Because it feels like you don't care where these candidates went to school, or even if they did go to school, so long as they get through your tests, they're great candidates. Is this the death of
And you have 20 seconds to answer the future of education.
I don't think it's the death of the degree. A lot of bright candidates and a lot of the best IT professionals, have those foundations. But I mean, this is definitely a great opportunity for the folks that didn't come from that to having a chance to actually get their fair shake and actually get the opportunities to have a successful career.
And with that, we are out of time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.